How can you stay calm during a conflict if your emotions are running wild or if you're paralyzed by fear because you don't know anymore what to say? How can you get yourself out of those situations and react accordingly whenever there is a bully in front of you or maybe a narcissist and you want to get out of that and take back the control of your life to some extent? Because people who are too negative, once they are out of your life or once you can get the edge over them, you start having much more freedom in your life. Basically, I would say the job has to be done ahead of time. It is a practice to develop on a day-to-day basis, and I'm going to explain specifically why and how you can do that. What I mean by that is that all the conflicts you've had so far, a very big chance they all have one thing in common. Either it may be a topic, a specific topic you always enter in conflict about, or an idea, or maybe some problem that keeps coming back into all the biggest conflicts you've had so far that you haven't really been able to solve completely, partially, eventually, or you did, but it ended up into a massive isolation of you and the other person, which is not really anything that good neither. So what is into all the conflicts you haven't been able to solve completely, or the ones you solved completely but you still have scars from it? What is the one or the two or three maybe, common topics or ideas or things that kept coming back into all of them? Usually there is one main area of thoughts, one main area of discussion that keeps coming back whenever you have a really difficult conflict to deal with. And that's what I mean by the job has to be done ahead of time, because it is probably that there is something related with this area of discussion or this topic of conversation that is not completely healed or solved internally for yourself. And as long as this is not solved completely internally for yourself, you may always end up meeting even more people who will trigger you on this because it is not solved internally in yourself, and therefore you're just like a magnet. We all send brain waves and we are just naturally attracting people who match what we feel and who we are inside. And the other thing that could be eventually even more uncomfortable is who are the main people you keep arguing with. Maybe this is just the same person that keeps coming back all the time, or maybe there is a type of people. One client I had someday, he was always in conflicts at work with his boss, but every time he was changing into a new job, he was always getting in front of a new boss, and the same kind of very abusive, confrontational boss who was always trying to drag him down. When we investigated a little bit, this client had his dad, who was an ex-military, but like really the front, like a tough guy, old school tough guy, and he had never really solved the conflicts with his dad. And he kept all his life getting into new jobs, always with the same kind of extremely abusive male figure as a boss. And once we solved that with the conflict he had with his dad, that he didn't need to talk with directly because his dad was not here anymore, he was alive but like far away or whatever, we just solved it from the inside with some hypnosis, and then he just quit the job he was into at this point, got into a new one, and it has been like 2 or 3 years. Now it's pretty good. Now it's okay. So when you have the same type of people coming back that you have conflicts with or that you have trouble interacting with, question yourself, maybe it is not the case, but question yourself, is there not a specific type of people I keep arguing with, and what do they have in common? If it is not a specific topic of conversation, then it might be a specific type of people you keep arguing with all the time. In which case, what is the source of that? What is the source of those people? And if there are such people like that right now in your life, maybe you have some people, either direct family or maybe around, who are just trying to get into conflicts with you all the time. Whatever you say, or whenever you get into this one topic that is kind of controversial, they just get into conflict with you. The first big question to ask here is, what is specifically the positive value that you are getting out of those people? If there is no positive value, if it is just conflicts all the time, negativity all the time, the first big question is, okay, first of all, why do you keep them around you? Or why do you engage so much into conversations with them? Is there any advantage you're getting out of keeping those people in your life or out of interacting with them so much? Maybe there is, maybe there is not. First thing, if there is no advantage or positive value you get from those negative people, then why do you keep them? Or why don't you distance yourself as much as possible from them? When they interact with you, maybe you can just ignore them, or like speak with the least amount of words necessary and without even anger, like passive aggressive, like, no, nothing. This is passive aggressive, this is not what I'm recommending. It is more like underreacting emotionally, like, yeah, I can do that. Anything else? Oh, okay. And you leave and you don't even talk with them anymore. And if they try to trigger you, maybe you can say, yeah, I know I'm wrong. Yeah, no, you're right, I'm wrong. Yeah. Bye. And you leave. And I have done that with narcissists. They go crazy because they want to get a reaction, and I don't give them the reaction. I say, yeah, you know what? I'm full of shit. Yeah, you're right. See you. And then I go. And they go crazy because they have nothing else to grab. So when you can just let it go and don't care, those people will just get out of your life naturally because they will keep finding a new target, which will be not you, a new target who will be the one they can grab and like make that person react. When it's not you anymore, they don't grab you anymore, then they don't even are interested in talking with you anymore. And the last thing to get on the more technical aspect of how do you react to those people, or how do you handle a conflict from the conversational standpoint, or even just from the emotional standpoint, I would say on the most basic level, and then there are many language tactics to deal with those people that you can find on this channel if you want. Otherwise, at the very root foundation, even before all the language advanced techniques, before that, it is just going to have to relate to your breathing. Because whenever people are being attacked, the natural human reaction is to hold and don't breathe anymore. If you do that, if you don't breathe anymore, you're cutting the oxygen that goes to your brain, and you think much less properly, and then you're just paralyzed and you can't think anymore, and you say the stupidest things at this point because you don't have access anymore to your logical brain. So handling your breathing and being attentionate, being really careful about how you breathe in front of a really conflicting person is the biggest thing you can change, the biggest thing you can act upon, because even if you are not interested into learning very advanced language tactics to deal with them, even without that, just handling your breathing will allow you to respond much more effectively to people who are usually negative or try to drag you down. On a daily basis, you can just measure how you are breathing and just catch yourself every time you are holding, every time you stop breathing, or you are clenching your shoulders, like wrenching your shoulders like on the in front because you're trying to protect yourself, hiding. Whenever you do that, stop, get back, open the chest, keep the air flowing throughout, relax your throat, because the more relaxed it is, the more it means the air is going through everything and your brain is getting more oxygen. And when you develop your acuity into noticing how you breathe all day long, it will be way easier to do it in front of somebody who might be attacking you verbally or trying to make you react emotionally. You may just stay calm, but staying calm, the root foundation is about your breathing patterns, and how can you stay fluid in the way you breathe as you are looking at them. And if you start to hold, it means they have a hold on you, metaphorically and physically speaking, because they are touching your emotions too deeply. But when you are the master of your breathing, they can't catch you anymore because you are stronger, because you have the control of your own internal states. If you don't have the control of your own internal states, anybody can manipulate you, anybody can really take hold on you, metaphorically and physically speaking. Once you get much more understanding of how your breathing is affecting your states and how the situations around you are affecting the way you breathe and the way you hold and stop breathing, this is where you can develop this acuity to not let yourself be caught anymore by negative people or by toxic or very aggressive people, and you can just loosen up, shake it off, loosen up, and remain calm in a conflict and react in the cleverest way possible, conversationally, when you are being attacked.